January 6th is exactly what House lawmakers are fighting to ask him about. My next guest logged hundreds of hours with conversations with Trump's former chief strategist. Michael Wollf writes this in his newest book, Too Famous, and we quote, Bannon understood that Trump was crazy but a major audience draw, and the far-right wing was nutty but delivered a significantly higher than average response rate. And two, that the working man in America had gotten a bum deal, and maybe Bannon could strike a positive blow, whatever that might be, on the working man's behalf from a luxury hotel suite. With us for more, the aforementioned Michael Wollf, author of 3 books about the inner workings of the Trump White House, here to talk about his newest work called Too Famous: The Rich, the Powerful, the Wishful, the Notorious, the Damned. Michael, it's great to have you back on the broadcast. Thank you very much for coming. And because of the news tonight, because he's one of your leading subjects, let's talk about one Steve Bannon, menswear and personal icon, grooming icon that he is. Is he the architect, the designer, the builder, or just the cheerleader of 1-6?
Or none of the above. Steve Bannon is a man who does everything for an effect. And the effect is not necessarily connected to the reality. So for Steve to get up ahead of steam and start to announce that there's going to be a revolution, this in the streets, the world is going to change, is actually Steve's conversation almost in almost every moment. That is so making the cause and effect line, and this is what's going to be hard for the Democrats in this, is never so clear. I mean, it's going to be the same with Donald Trump. All of these people are actors. Their game is theater. Their game is not action. Nevertheless, without question, it is their rhetoric, and it's incredible rhetoric. That's what Bannon is. I mean, he's a genius in the rhetoric department, and so. All of the people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th certainly took inspiration from Bannon and as well from the president. But was Steve and the president shocked by what ultimately happened? You know, I can't say for sure, but I know them both very well, and I would say that that they were pretty dumbfounded.
Quick follow-up before we move on. Is he a coward at heart? Would any part of him want to come in, face the music, and try to give as good as he gets?
Steve, I would say he's a coward. But even that, I mean, maybe I would just say he's a showman. And all that matters to him is the show, is him at the center of that show.
All right. Let's talk about the book, and I want to begin with the table of contents to give future buyers an idea of what they're getting here, divided into categories and people, all of whom are famous enough to be called by their first names. Just reading randomly: Jared, Rudy, Tucker, Ronan, Harvey, Jan, Ariana, Tina, Bloomberg, Hillary, Rupert. Obviously, they are tied together in this collection and written about and published because of their fame. Is there another single quality they have in common? Is it vanity, for example?
Well, it's a need for attention, incredible amounts of attention. It's flying too near the sun, or more accurately, too near the media sun. And it is also, in every case, a kind of genius ability to use the media for their own ends.
I've been trying to find ways to impart to people how unbelievably intimate the transcripts are of a scene, conversations between Bannon and Jeffrey Epstein, with a cameo by Epstein's lawyer and friend, Reed Weingarten. I have never been so happy to have never known Jeffrey Epstein, though I feel now that I have a true sense of him in this book. Tell folks how it came to be that you have literal conversations and the inner workings of the now deceased Jeffrey Epstein in this book.
Yeah, in about 2014, and I had a prior acquaintance with Epstein. He was involved with a group of people that I was involved with trying to buy New York Magazine, a failed bid. But in 2000, that was before he went to jail. When he got out of jail, then I didn't see him, and then in about 2014, he called me and he said, "Would you like to write a book about me?" One of the things that seems to happen to me an awful lot is people call me up and want a book written. Considering the kinds of books I usually end up writing, I don't know why that should be, but it is. And I said, I don't know. I mean, and he said, "You can. I will give you complete access. You can come whenever you'd like. You can be," and people always then say this to me, "a fly on the wall." What takes place in the book is really several scenes in the last months of his life. So as he and the people around him, more the people around him than Epstein himself, start to realize that it's closing in on him, that there's no exit here. He's not gonna get out. And they start to think what to do and maybe how to make a plan for him to strike a deal or rehabilitate himself somewhat or do something. And that's what, and this happens inside his house in New York and inside his house in Paris. And through a combination of recordings and what people have told me, I think that I've been able to put together a incredibly accurate and incredibly vivid picture of what took place in the houses that Epstein almost never went out of in the last months of his life.
And the aircraft as it comes into Teterboro Airport in New Jersey, with Epstein aware that the feds are waiting at the bottom of the air stairs. We know how that story ended. We will not know how every story in this book ends, but they're all here. The book, again, is called Too Famous. It's in stores starting today, wherever you buy books. We are grateful to the author, Michael Wollf, for joining us to talk about it tonight. Michael, thanks. Great to have you. The politics of accountability coming up next, whether for an attack on democracy or a party figurehead who yet again finds a self-centered way to speak ill of the dead.